Welcome back to another episode of the Apex Studio podcast. I'm your host, Denis Opolczynski, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with an incredibly versatile storyteller, filmmaker, writer, and producer, Adam Maffei. You may know Adam from projects like the thought-provoking narrative, We're All Gonna Die, the dark comedy, Wes is Dying, or the family-oriented Disney series, Disney Quizney. His work has earned him awards and nominations, but beyond those accolades, it's his unique voice and creative versatility that truly sets him apart. So now, join me in welcoming Adam Maffei.
Wow, what an intro. Thank you. I've never been introduced quite so well before. It's put me off a little bit.
Yeah, I'm still going to ask you to kind of tell us who you are, but It's funny because I looked up when was the first time you emailed and you shot here, and it was December 21st, 2018. And it was at 9:45 in the morning, I think.
Yeah.
So you've been here a while, and it's crazy because in doing research on you, I had no idea how many different things you do. So it is, it's awesome to have you on. And
no worries. I'm excited to be here. I feel like, obviously you're referencing 2018 and now we're 7 years later almost, right? Like in full.
Yeah.
And we've worked together 1 week or 2 weeks, once a quarter, every quarter for all that time, right?
And today is your third day. It's his third day in production, by the way. After it's like, what time is it? 6:30
or something? Yeah.
And you have one more day here, so Thanks for your time.
Yeah, of course. No, I love it. I'm excited.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We'll hold for that. Okay. So I would love for you to just kind of give us a general overview of who's Adam and what do you do? How long have you been doing it?
Oh, geez. I am a producer, just a creative producer, capital P producer. I've been doing it for long enough that I was doing it before I even knew that I was doing it. I grew up making surf and skate videos with my friends and making music videos with my friends in high school and different things like that. And I always knew I wanted to move in film. I've known that since I was a kid, like 3 years old. I was writing scripts and asking my mom, would you say this? And my mom would be like, yeah. And then I'd be like, okay, mom says, go get cereal. And I'd be like, and she has those saved. She has poorly spelled scripts that I wrote as a very, very young child. And then moved to California and I started making commercials for the company PacSun and brands like Nike and Hurley and Converse and any surf skate brand you could think. And then
McLaren.
Eventually, McLaren and Rolls-Royce and Lamborghini and Mattel is now a client of mine that I work with quite regularly. And and then about 7 years ago I started my own company and I've been doing film, television, and commercials ever since.
You also mentioned you just came back from South by Southwest.
Yeah.
Right? And what were you there for?
I had a film premiere called The Surrender. I can say it now because it was just in deadline today. We sold to Shudder and we're going to be premiering on Shudder on May 27th, I believe. So it's one of the fastest turnarounds I've ever had for a film. We sold the week we released, the week we premiered, and in just a couple weeks we're going to be everywhere.
Nice.
After that, yeah.
I just knew you work for this well-known fitness company making content for them, but how many films have you done now and what sort of films are they in terms of producing?
Yeah, I think I've done 14 films now as a producer. All of them are out or coming out at this point, and I have 3 films this year that I'll be producing. So the way that we know each other is actually just a small portion of what I do. It's just with one client of mine, and we come here every single time. But I've been lucky. Last year I had 2 projects at South by. I had another project that was at Tribeca, and I've been fortunate enough to be going to a lot of festivals in the last couple of years with all these amazing projects I've been allowed to be a part of.
And what kind of films are they? Because I thought that was what was like fascinating. Even when I was researching you, like the one place I saw you on was a podcast that talked about like
Horror?
old school.
Yeah.
Old school. It was, and I had no idea. So what sort of films are they?
It runs the gambit. I've done film, I've done drama, I've done comedy, I've done sci-fi. I've done a Christmas movie now. That was something I did last year. That'll be coming out this year. So I've done a little bit of everything. I only have 2 rules, and I used to be embarrassed about this when people would say like, what type of producer are you? You need to like pick a lane, or you need to pick a pocket. And I never had a great answer for that. And I just finally became comfortable with my answer. It's a movie that I want to see myself, or with people that I love and that I want to work with. And as long as the project fits those criteria, I'm happy to work on it regardless. That being said, I'm a big horror boy, and I love making horror movies and doing lots of horror.
Is doing the fitness stuff kind of like paying the bills, or are you able to make an income with both of those?
It's both. I'm very invested with that client, and I've been with them obviously for as long as you and I have known each other. I think we even did projects prior to coming to Apex. Health and fitness is something I'm super passionate about in my personal life, and being attached to a company that does that is super rewarding. And I, having been with them since their very first production, and being the head of production for that company, I love it. I love doing it and being a part of that. Yeah.
What would you say makes a good producer?
Jeez. I don't even know if I'm a good producer to say it, but
I think you are.
I think I came up in production, and I worked for a studio for a while that forced is too much of a, like, too strong of a word, but like we were required to play every role in a film set while working at that studio. So there were shoots that I would do 3 camera setups, run audio, be the director, be the producer, and interact with the talent as a single person. So I'd be unloading all the gear from my car, setting up all the lights, setting up the audio, setting up the 3 cameras, setting up, sitting down with the talent, reviewing our questions, getting everything ready to go. And that was like the perfect way to learn and have at least an understanding of like what is required of every role, which gives you like a level of like respect and a level of like enough to say like, oh, I remember when this sucked for me. I don't want to make that be a pain point for someone else. And I think that if more producers had that skill set, or at least awareness of those things, I think, to answer your question, like awareness of all the roles and their problems and their assets to the project, that I think is an amazing skill set for a producer to have, to be able to interact with everybody on a one-to-one level and hear them out. I think that makes all of our projects run.
How do you always stay positive?
Oh, funny.
Because I feel like that definitely makes a producer a good producer, in my opinion. So I feel like how do you do that?
I maybe one, it's just like I try to stay. I understand the value of staying positive, and I understand the detriment that negativity can bring to an environment, especially for anyone that's in a leadership type role or managerial type role. You know, if you're on a boat and you see the captain panicking and freaking out, you're going to freak out too, right? But if everything's going astray and the captain is calm and looking at how we're going to get through this, that emotes a level of calmness to everybody. So I think I try to do that, and then I guess that is the answer. I guess I guess the other side of it would be, I've done enough productions now too where I've seen a lot of different things go wrong, and we've solved them. Not I, but problems have been solved. So it is a little bit of a toolbox that I get to carry around, where it's like, oh, we're losing, whatever it is. We lost talent the day before the shoot. Okay, this is what we can do to make sure we get this new talent in place and up to speed. Or oh, the power went out. What exterior shots can we get going? Just being comfortable knowing like there is a solution. It's a puzzle to be solved, and we can overcome this and still find the next step to move forward with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else wild you can think of that just something happened and you ended up figuring out a situation?
I've had everything go wrong, right? Like you have an outside day that's rain comes on and it's supposed to be a sunny day, and you figure out what scenes you can do inside and blow light through the windows and make it look like a sunny day, right? Like there's always something that can be done, and you can't focus on like, oh, this is the thing that's done. Like it's not going to happen right now. I think I tend to become robotic in that regard when it's like, can this work? Can this not work? Yes, no, yes, no. And if the answer is like, no, 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 it's like, great. What are going to be the yeses? And then let's just switch gears and focus on those yeses and then keep everybody moving. Because I think you start to lose everyone and you start to lose the project when you sit still and can't come up with a solution. Yeah.
What's a widely believed myth about working in Hollywood that you found to be untrue?
I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I think that the widest belief that I don't think is true is that it's like all glitz and glam and really easy, and people don't really realize like how much like manual labor goes into making a project come to life, or like how as a producer or as a director, right? Like you are often up until 2 a.m. and then back up at 5 a.m. for weeks to months at a time. And it's like, that's not fun. Like doing the job is certainly fun, and we're all fortunate enough to like do it. And if you're working, like that's like such a lovely thing to have going, but like it's certainly not a 9 to 5, and it's not relaxing, right? Like I think the greater world gets to see the relaxing bits where you get to go to parties or you get to get flown to locations and do all these things, and that's always nice and certainly fun. But like what they don't see is like getting up at 4 a.m. to drive to set where you're cold and waiting for coffee to, or that's not even a good example because it's like something's happening, but like you're outside in the cold all day, or you're doing a horror movie and you're doing all-nighters for 3 weeks straight, and you all of a sudden have to flip your schedule, and like you're filming outside at night from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. and like that's not normal, like, and that's certainly weighs on your mental health and physical health when you do that back to back to back over and over and over again.
What are things people probably don't expect to face that are difficult as a producer? And then the second one is, how do you do that as a father? You have 2 or 3 kids?
2 kids, yeah.
2 kids.
Yeah, they're the best. This is not unique to me, and I think other producers might lament the same thing, but it's like when everything goes right, you have nothing to do with it, and when everything goes wrong, it's 100% your fault. And you really have to be comfortable with that and like know that you're in a supportive role to make the creative vision come true, which is why you get to see all the creative the obviously creative people get celebrated when those things come to fruition, and it is your responsibility at the end of the day to run the production and the business and do all of those things. So it is your responsibility when things go wrong, but you really have to be like comfortable within yourself and thick-skinned to deal with those things, that side of it.
And take accountability.
Yeah, accountability for sure.
So how do you do that as a father?
Balance.
Yeah.
Working
are you just away for such long periods anymore, or do you just tailor the projects you take on?
Kind of both. I think before my wife and I had kids, I had this like pipe dream. I was like, oh my gosh, every time I do a location, you know, if I'm filming in Tennessee for 3 months, like it'll be a vacation and everybody can come with me and it'll be so nice. And if we're filming in Vancouver, like we'll go to Vancouver for the summer or the winter, you know. And the reality is that people have lives and your family has lives and they have classes that they need to go to or friends that they want to hang out with. And while the intention is positive and pure, right? Like it's just like I want my family to be together. Yeah. The reality isn't always such. So I think, I don't know if you intended the answer to get this personal, but I think what works for us is just like being very communicative with each other and planning out what works and doesn't work for our family. And we have a family calendar that we keep. And for me, even the owner of the company that you and I know each other through working at Apex for all these years, she gave me such a nice compliment this week. And the thing that she said was she really valued and liked that I have like a set family time every day. So sort of everybody that I work with knows that I respect everybody else's family time, but like basically from like 5 to like 8:30 is, you know, like hardcore family time. Like I'm with my kids, we're making dinner, we're doing bath time, we're doing bedtime routine, and then I get them off to sleep. And then I can come back online, you know, afterwards when my family's asleep and I'm not interacting with them, and you know, when they're awake. So I try to schedule time and really be present where I'm like, here, I'm doing it. We're going to the park, we're riding bikes, we're doing all sorts of other stuff. So I think because our industry is so hectic and so filled and constantly people are trying to get portions of your time, what I found works for my family is like dedicating time where it's like inarguable, I'm unavailable for these hours or on these days. And that seems to work so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I feel terrible because we're cutting into that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm filming today, so yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you again for your time.
No worries, dude.
You're part of is it Producers Guild?
Yeah. I'm part of the PGA.
So what is that about? How long have you been in it?
I think this is my second official year in the PGA. The Producers Guild is like any other guild. It's like the DGA for the directors or the Writers Guild for writers, but it's for producers. I guess it's twofold. I think being in the Producers Guild, first and foremost, like there's a community that I have access to now where if I have questions, I can ask other producers, or there's events where there's meet and greets and I can meet other producers, or there's different functions that they host to like, you know, discuss all different aspects of physical production or post-production or doing VFX or new tech advances in the industry. So it's really fun and rewarding to be a part of the Producers Guild for all of those reasons. And then I think it's also, you know, there's a requirement to get into the Producers Guild that is, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what they are, but it's like, you know, you had to have had like made 2 films that were widely released in the last 5 years or something like that. You need to have like so many hours and jobs and things behind you or in your career that they can fact check and like sort of say like, okay, this person's a true producer that's done all of these things and therefore they can do it. So so I think on that side too, it's sort of like an accreditation that you have that shows that like at least somebody of value has said like, oh yes, this person knows what they're doing and they can do it for you to a certain standard.
Has it been worthwhile for you to join? Would you advise other people join it if they're serious about producing?
I think so, but I definitely, to steal a phrase from a good buddy, am like a get all the juice from the squeeze kind of person, right? So I really wanted to be a part of the PGA, and it was really important to me to be in the PGA. I didn't tell anybody that I was applying, and I didn't bring it up until long after I had gotten accepted, because I think I was nervous about wanting to be a part of it. And I think there are already things in just, a couple of years of being a part of the PGA that I would not have had to my benefit. There's like a PGA breakfast that I went to and met a couple of execs that have since started conversations where we might have projects together in the future. And I would never have been in that room if I hadn't had the opportunity that the PGA offered. Yeah.
How long were you thinking about joining it before you actually joined?
Maybe, 5 years, maybe more. I knew I could have joined. So before I started my own company, I had already had enough credits, I guess we'll simplify it to say, to join on like the digital side that they had, but it was really important to me to join on the feature film side, and now they've collapsed them all into one anyway.
Was it harder to do the film?
It was harder to do the film side, and because I was a producer working for a studio that was doing premium digital content and live shows and TV shows and stuff like that, like almost by nature of just going to work every day, I was getting enough of a credit to like be accepted on that side. So I was like, I want to have done it for myself. Even though I was doing it by, working for that studio, I wanted to do it on my own. Yeah. But even they had already collapsed it before I had applied, but I still wanted to like meet the metric that had been, I guess, I don't know, because I wanted to show myself that I was worthy of being accepted, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah. But I had known what the application process was and knew what the checkpoints were. Okay. And the craziest thing that I can say about applying was, how like every job you apply for is like, give us 3 references and we'll follow up with them. And like, I would argue 9 out of 10 times they never call any of those references.
I learned to follow up on them.
You do?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had people from like crazy parts of my life, like people from when I worked at PacSun 15 years ago, being like, hey man, someone from the PGA just called to like ask if you had done like content for us. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize like they were really trying to make sure I was like up to snuff. Yeah. So like a little bit of the cat was out of the bag when like just different people from my life had followed up with me being like, hey, are you doing that? Was that a weird thing that just happened? But yeah, I was surprised by how thorough they were.
When did you feel like, okay, I'm like a legit producer?
I still don't feel like that.
No,
I don't know. I feel like every day I'm like, am I supposed to be here? Like, am I doing this? I guess I'm thankful every time I'm doing it, and I'm excited to do it. I don't have any other thing I'd want to do in my life. But yeah, I don't know that I feel like I'm there yet. I don't know, maybe in the future I'll feel that way.
Yeah. Well, that's very humble of you. Let's say budget wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
What sort of movie would you make? What would you produce? What would you work on?
I have a project that was a book that I wrote when I was in college that I haven't published, much to my own dismay, that if I don't make that movie before I die, I will have wasted valuable time for myself. Gotcha. So that is the thing that I'm looking forward to making at some point if budget allows.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you be able to discuss what that film would be about, or
yeah. Kind of. It's it's called At the End of Everything, and the opening is a series of shots of a tree in a field, and then a person in a crowd, like focused on a person in a crowd, and a shed that is back behind an old house, and different things. And then we go back through, and the tree is gone, the person is gone, and the shed is gone. And basically the world that we're in is it's present day Earth, and the things that we forget about disappear. And it's not until enough things start disappearing that anybody starts noticing that stuff is disappearing, right? Yeah. And at that point it becomes like a little like it's too late. And as more and more things are disappearing and more people are realizing that the things that we've forgotten about are gone, people and objects and buildings start uprooting and floating off into the sky. And this main character is trying to get back to his ex-fiancée to try to make amends before whatever is happening happens. And it's trying to figure out what's going on, and will he get to her in time? And once he gets to her, is he going to find what he wants to find or not?
It sounds beautiful. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
What
Yeah.
inspired that?
Everything that I do write a lot in my private life. Like I write poetry. I used to play in a band. I used to write songs all the time. So everything I write is definitely personal, like, and openly personal, I guess, where I myself, or I put myself and other people in my own life's perspective. And I guess that's just my sort of crutch in how I like to write, or how I like to tell stories. So it definitely has a lot of personal elements to it, but I think, I don't know, I have a big weird brain, and it thinks of crazy things sometimes. And I just thought that was like a nice allegory for what I was trying to tell and what I was feeling at the time of writing it. And the book is way more in depth, and crazier, where it won't make sense in the film version, but in the book there's a little girl that's born, and she knows that she's bringing about the end of the world, and she knows it from a young age, like at the age of like 6. She learns that she is Armageddon, and she has to try to grow up in life knowing that she can't tell anybody that she is the end of the world, but she's going to be the cause of it. And all of that comes together in hopefully a poetic and cool way in the book. But I know in the movie it's just going to be too dense to wrap up. So I've exercised all of those side stories and things to make the film version.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you written books before?
Only one other one. I wrote a book. I backpacked around America for 3 months with my 2 best friends after college, and I took like crazy detailed journal every single day, and we even had people we met along the way like sign the journal almost like a yearbook, and or add something to it or different things. And that's a very special part of my life, and I unfortunately probably bring it up far too often, only because it's like, it gave me the unique ability to have people be like, oh, I'm from Salmon, Idaho. And I'm like, oh my God, I know Salmon, Idaho. You know, like Uncle Curly's bar? Like, I drank in there with the owner, like different things. And it was really, it was very, 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 very fun. But I took those journal entries and just basically transcribed them into a book. And 15 years ago, before I moved to California, I was working with an editor who was like, hey, this is actually a pretty good like perspective and travel log and all these things. And I think I was young and moved to California, and I was missing emails from them, and I think they finally just like were like fed up, and I definitely missed an awesome opportunity that I probably should have taken at the time. But maybe someday I'll self-publish it, or I'll reach back out to somebody else to see if they should do it. Yeah.
We'll support it.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Never thought about it like that.
Do you see things change now in production? Like, do you imagine yourself making that movie with AI, for instance, one day?
I don't know that I will use AI. I am predisposed to be optimistic about the future of the film industry or art in general. Yeah. I want to believe, I don't even know if this is a real anecdote, but I feel like I might be misremembering it. But like when the printing press came out, I guess people freaked out, and they were like, no one's gonna want to work anymore. They're just gonna want to sit around and read books or the newspaper. And then whatever the next titan of industry change comes out, and everybody's like, nobody's gonna be able to do all these other things anymore. Think of all the jobs that'll be lost and all these things. And I want to believe that we're just in the panic state of something new is aggressive and here, and we're unsure of how we're going to use this tool or wield this power, or what will change as a result of it existing. I love tech. Like I'm a big nerdy tech boy too. So like, again, like on the side, I'm excited about how crazy it is, and I'm maybe in a weird way interested to see how it affects the world, in both positive and negative ways. I think there's like cool things that you hear about in medical advancements that we would never get if we didn't have AI at the levels that we're having, and what will that solve and how will that change and shape the world. I don't know that AI is not going to take over the world and kill everybody and everything too. So on some level, I guess I'm cautious to that as well. And as that relates to the film industry, I don't know. I did have a client recently tell me they were stopping us mid-post because they felt like they could pay an intern $50 to create the rest of the commercial on AI. And I was like, whoa, okay, so this is happening. And there's no animosity to that. It just, they were like, yeah, this is just what we got to do. And and I certainly see brands using entirely AI generated commercials now. And as a commercial producer, I'm like, okay, well, it's already been an uphill battle for budgets in commercials for the last couple of years. If you're a business owner, if you could do a commercial for $250,000 or $5,000, and it, from an ROI standpoint or a click-through standpoint, is going to net generally the same results, a business in a capitalist society is certainly going to go to the $5,000 option. So I am worried in that regard, but I don't know. I feel like the optimism comes through, and I think we'll all net out and things will be okay, or new opportunities for jobs that we don't even know could exist yet will exist, and that's what people will move towards.
I have not noticed your team change. Like, you've pretty much worked with the same people.
Yeah.
So do you see any changes as a producer in how productions are running, just non-related to AI, just other things, other trends in the industry currently?
If they are, I haven't been invited to those things or privy to those things. I think one thing I've been very lucky about in my career is that I have come across people that are super talented and I get along with really, really well in a variety of skill sets. And we sort of become a traveling band of pirates. And, if I'm doing a car commercial, I have a team that is like my go-to car commercial team, and we do all of that together. But sometimes they overlap with other types of projects, and I have, flat editor photo teams that I work with, and they're the great team that I go through for that. Obviously, the team that we work with at Apex is, I think, almost distinctly have been the exact same team for the entire time that we've been filming here at Apex to the T. I love that. I hope to see all the people that I work with just keep growing and coming together. And it's another way of having like a family that you see all the time, and work sucks a little less when you're doing it with people you love, and you get into a little bit more of a creative symbiotic state when you can kind of break down role barriers and say like, oh, hey, that was a great idea that you had, even though I'm the, X position on set, wouldn't it be sick if we did this? And honoring that, because at the end of the day, like, best idea wins, right? We're all on the same team trying to make the best product. So if you can work with people you like and allow that sort of creative unison, seems to be great. And I'm gonna keep doing it as long as I can.
What is one personality trait that you think helps besides being positive on set?
I think anyone that works with me will laugh at this answer, but I think long before I was a dad, I was a dad, and I have like a paternal instinct, like I care about all of my crew members, and like I hope that they know that, and I think they do probably, because we all hang out and talk all the time and stuff like that. But I think I treat, I try to be as open and transparent with all of my team members as I can possibly be. I used to try to be transparent in the sense that like, hey, here's the budget, this is how we're doing it. But I learned quickly that like not everybody's equipped to see the full transparent budget. And so, but that sort of ethos is deep within me of being like, there's no reason to have secrecy or these walls. And if you can cut out any of the, BS and just talk with each other as human beings, you can get through that. And I think, that sort of family aspect, I'm not going to say a crew as a family, but like, if you can get through that, like kind of side of things, it just makes it a lot nicer to work with people. And yeah, it's like when you're away from the other people that you love, whether it's your family, your kids, your roommates or parents or whatever it is, hopefully being together on a film shoot is not the worst thing in the world, if you're around other friends. So I just got to try to keep doing that.
Yeah.
That might work for a little bit.
Yeah. What's some advice you might give to someone that's just beginning to take their path to be a producer, besides kind of do every role, as you mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
Because that'll really allow you to understand everyone's like
valuing the people and the creative, I guess, over everything else is probably what has been working for me the most, because you'll figure out the budget. Like logistics stuff you can figure out, right? Like logistics is ones and zeros. It either you did the paperwork or you didn't do the paperwork, or you have the money in the bank or you don't have the money in the bank, right? Like there's not like a, oh, maybe. It's like, well, oh, maybe needs to become yes or no. So I feel like the logistics stuff can get figured out in the wash. But valuing and focusing on the actual creative vision of your director or your writer or your talent and the people that you're on set with, and listening to all of them. Maybe listening is the answer. Listening and realizing that you're the rudder of the ship, not the captain of the ship. You're just here to make sure everybody keeps moving forward and stays within a boundary. But you're not necessarily like the person dictating the way. I think, I don't know, somewhere in there is probably the answer that I would give to someone starting. Do it a lot. Do it as much as you can is the other answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of just don't wait, but just start.
Yeah, 100%. Don't wait. Just start. Skin your knees. Like you're gonna mess up. It's not gonna be the end of the world. You get back up. You can do it again. There'll be other projects, and if you do it enough times, you'll start to learn what works and what doesn't work. And because nobody likes getting punched in the stomach, so you only have to do it so many times before you learn how to not do it. And and then I think then you'll start to have that comfort level, and then that will lead you on a path to becoming hopefully a great producer.
Yeah. What do you foresee in your future? What's going to be next for you?
What I hope is next for me is I want to build my commercial company even further. Prior to 2023, I was getting a lot of bigger agency contracts and doing a lot of stuff, union and non-union, and getting a lot of commercial work done. And I started hiring people into my company. And then, everybody lived through 2023 and 2024 where it just felt like everything got slashed and cut and commercials were drying up. I feel like that's making a comeback now, and I hope to grow that business considerably and start hiring people into the company again. And then on the film side, I've been making at least 2 films a year, and I just want to keep doing it, at least that, 2 features a year, and try to focus on bigger budgets, better stories, and working with my friends again as much as possible.
Nice.
Yeah.
Those sound super cool.
It's fun. It's the only thing I want to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you. If you could just let us know where people can find you and follow you. And
I think the easiest place would be to follow me on my Instagram's the only social media I have, so I would say follow me on Anchorstone Productions, just the company. I have to get better about posting on it, but I think that's a part of this year is reposting on it. I've never been big on social media, but now it's a part of our business, so you have to do it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll give you a follow, and again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been awesome, dude. I hope we
Yeah.
get to talk more, even if we're not on camera
Absolutely.
doing this.
No, we'll
Yeah, it'd be a lot of
definitely
fun.
have a follow-up.
Thank you so much.
Sweet.
You're awesome.